First of March, 1933. I seem to find my thoughts increasingly tricky to articulate. Had I the power to argue my thoughts as much as Sophia does, I should be as eloquent a speaker as Hitler. Not that I respect his content. It is now a month since that man was made Chancellor. I see his brown Hemden sometimes, patrolling the streets. Even here, in the heart of Berlin, they are becoming the law. I catch myself often these days looking out towards the city lights. I remember the Berlin I used to love, the love that I was so moved by. When I first arrived in 29, everything felt so hopeful. I'd spend my days in Platz am Opernhaus, listening to Mozart, Grieg, Beethoven, Bach, all the music from the opera house. My nights would be colored by adventures throughout Berlin. Friedrichstraße, the boulevard of lights and licentiousness. Cabarets after bars after clubs. Even as the crash zapped all Germany of its vigor, Friedrichstraße never dimmed. I realize how many people I must have met on that road.
Otto and his pipe, always smoking it without any fail. Friedrich and his way with women, you would always find him with at least 2 girls on either arm. And speaking of women, we also had Olga. She used to wear this feather boa. Took it wherever she went. Still does sometimes. She claims to be something of a dancer, but I don't know, I've never seen her do anything of the sort. Then there's Karl and Ada. They are our 2 resident siblings. They bicker like anything. But they're inseparable. Inseparable. You know, they've shown me such kindness, these people, and they never had to. It was Ada who introduced me to Sophia.
She is enrapturing, confident, outspoken, viciously opinionated. Quite the drinker. She fit in well with us revolutionaries, and stole my heart the moment she looked into my eyes. I started walking her home after our gatherings, which happened sometimes every other evening, and always included more wine and scotch than we should have been able to afford. Her family were old money, Junkers in the Kaiserreich, still holding on to land today. Land that I argued belonged to the people. And she told me exactly where to stick such people. Me and Sophia would argue over the smallest differences, bicker more than politicians, and I loved every minute of it. Karl, however, not so much. He would often become incensed by her blunt conservative views. Their debates were the stuff of theatre, and the rest of us adored to watch the show. Of course, when the Depression came, we all found ourselves more tight on Deutschmarks than we'd like. Thankfully, Sophia seemed to be more than willing to pay.
Even Carl started to like her.
Sophia started to talk about the future of Germany. Where we were, where we've been, where we deserve to go. It made some of us uneasy, not least of which me. When she would mention Hitler or the Nazis, or refer to their rhetoric, we would all fall silent. I would try and argue a point, as would Carl, but she was fiery, hard to disagree with, not least because of how passionate she became. As the Nazis became more popular, she would become more invigorated. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I found it captivating.
How do you say no to a woman like that? How can you argue with someone who sounds so right, so sure of themselves? How do you disagree with a friend? With your heart's desire, the woman you love? How do you say no to the woman buying you drinks? We all made excuses.
When the Reichstag burnt down, they blamed the communists. Hundreds of leftists, socialists, and the like had their offices burnt and raided and lives destroyed.
We gathered for drinks that night. Carl never showed. Ada coming in crying was all that we needed to know. No, I've never heard us be so quiet. Not even Sophia said anything. No, for all of their differences, for all of their arguments, they were still friends. Her and Carl. Friedrich told me he was looking into his options. Something about getting himself a passport. Oh, Olga. She said that she might be moving back home. To Dresden. When Otto just stood there, smoking on his pipe, still as stone. I walked Sophia home that night. She asked me, what was I going to do? I had nowhere else to go. My mother can't afford another mouth to feed. I told her that I was going to stay. Stay here in Berlin. I would not be removed. She smiled at that. And I smiled too. I woke up with her the next morning, leaving only a note. I haven't seen her in 2 days.
I wake upon a new day's dawn and ponder on the night. Whilst twisted shadows cloud my thoughts, I see without true sight how to vaunt dark clouds with lion's heart and conquer all hell's fear. Without thought, I leapt through the dark to feel love's fire sear my skin with seductive sultry tone and scream with shameful agony. When did the lion's den become my home? Or pride, disgraceful vanity? We thought we were infallible. Like papal hypocrites, the lion's den is here to stay, and we alone have built it.